Hi, so I wasn't planning to make this video at all, but I was talking to a friend and I thought it was really important to talk about this because I don't think it's talked about enough. I think there's kind of a stigma attached to it. I think that it's important to talk about mental health and reach out to one another, to people who have similar problems to us, to highlight that we are not alone. So first I'm going to talk about my own struggle with suicidal thoughts, and then I want to talk about kind of what has helped me and where I'm in my journey now and words that I have for you. So I first struggled with suicidal thoughts when I was around 16, I think, when I was in high school, but it was really small. It wasn't a problem. I'd have like a few thoughts like considering it, but nothing that interrupted my life, nothing major. It really started to get major when I got into a major depressive disorder, when I switched universities and I moved away from all my friends from my old university and from my then boyfriend. And I just, being alone plus being in a new city plus being away from my family just was the perfect storm for exacerbating my depression. So then I was struggling with intense suicidal thoughts. The worst it got was me doing research into suicide methods and then realizing how difficult and how unreliable suicide was, and then getting more into despair because I realized that I'd have to keep dealing with these thoughts and this despair and this depression and this life. And coming out of that cycle was not easy and not a clean process. And the journey out of depression is something that I think you deal with your whole life. But coming out of that low point specifically was a process of me going to meetups to meet new people and going to 2 therapists until I found a great therapist in Boston that helped me, getting antidepressants from a psychiatrist, going to meetups, did I say that already? Trying new workouts until I found something that worked for me, trying yoga, meditation, all sorts of stuff. And eventually the stuff that stuck and that helped settled into a routine that I tried to stick to, and it slowly got better. And it's not even something that I would realize on the spot. It's not something that you notice as it's going on, definitely, in my experience. So the person who you are talking to right now is me a few years later, and I'm in such a better spot right now. You know, I have sort of a somber mood just because I'm talking about this stuff, and I think it's serious. I honestly can't say that you will completely grow out of suicidal thoughts, but I think that you can definitely overcome thoughts of despair and being scared of your own mind. I remember in my lowest point, I would be scared of what I would think tomorrow and what I would feel tomorrow. I wouldn't want to be in my own mind. I would want to escape that, and I think that you might relate to that. You know, many people want to commit suicide because they don't want to be in their own heads. The difference is that when I think about suicide now, it's more contemplative. I think about it philosophically. Honestly, I can say I'm not afraid of death, but I'm angry that people are afraid to talk about it, and people are afraid to talk to suicidal people, and the only thing they say is, oh, please don't do it. Why? Why not? Just give me something more. What helps me now specifically is keeping a consistent schedule, so being as regular as I can with food, with water, with sleep, so eating as clean as I can, sleeping the same hours every day, more or less, you know, just as consistent as I can, and keeping hydrated. I also try to work out as much as I can within reason, so I'm doing yoga pretty consistently right now, almost every day. And I also do other workouts when I get the chance. Right now it's ballet, sometimes jogging, sometimes gymnastics, though those are harder to come by. I need the right circumstances. It also helps to push myself to seek out stuff that I know I want long term. So I find stuff that I know brings me bliss or brings me happiness, even if it's like, oh, I want to go on this trip or I want to do this project. Like YouTube, for example, set those goals and push myself to do little goals that make me do that. So if I'm working on a conference, for example, even like sending an email about it can be a little goal that I achieved that day. I'll make a to-do list one day, and if I'm feeling ambitious that day, I'll make myself do the thing that I want to do the least out of that list. So that gets stuff done. And I know that when you are in your lowest point, or what can feel like your lowest point, doing anything can feel like a huge mountain of work. Like, whoa, how am I gonna film a YouTube video? How am I gonna go work out? Like, I can't even get out of bed. I understand. What helps is setting the smallest of goals. So if yesterday you didn't get out of bed, today maybe you can meditate for 5 minutes in bed, so you don't even have to get out. Or do a 5-minute workout video, or make your bed and brush your teeth, or maybe talk to one person, because human contact is important even if you're an introvert. I'm an introvert, but I try to push myself to talk to people because I know that it's important to the brain. It's not important for me, it's important to the brain. And finally, I just want to tell you that personally, I think that you should never feel guilty for feeling depressed, which is something that I struggled with a lot. You shouldn't feel guilty for feeling suicidal. I know that no one chooses to feel suicidal, and let's face it, you didn't choose to be here, and you didn't choose to be suicidal or to be depressed. And depression is a huge monster to handle, but it's also a huge monster to understand, especially for people who've never been there. So I also want you to think about that when you're trying to talk to people who don't understand. They might hit you with cliches, and just try to be compassionate towards them as much as you need to be compassionate towards yourself. Treat your depression with patience, because it's not gonna go away in one day. But you're not alone, and that's the most important part. You can always reach out to me or to anyone else who makes themselves available to you. So I hope that this video helped a little bit. I've actually been there, so I know what you're going through. And if you have your own story, I'd love to hear it in the comments. Yeah, that's all. Bye.